Okay, so for the third time, and this will be the right time, we're going to do this using the StreamYard app, which will do Facebook and uh, and YouTube. And let me send an invite to get you in here, uh, Denise. Okay, so everybody be patient with me. So I'm gonna bring her in. There you are. Oh my God, this was, I don't know why this was so crazy trying to make this happen. This,
Well, I have when those kinds of things happen, my theory is that that means that you are doing something that the devil doesn't want you to do.
you know what? I think that's real too. I think
That's
I think
real.
I think that's real. And so we got a couple people who are jumping in. Let's give it a few minutes
Okay.
while people can make the transition because
Cool.
we actually started this 3 times. Oh my God, this is so bizarre, so
Mhm.
bizarre, and I don't know what's going on with Streamyard that it got to be so goofy. So yeah, we'll just wait a couple of minutes,
Okay.
literally 2 minutes, and and we'll get it started.
Okay.
So yeah, so the cool part is that now I understand what the problem is. So
Okay.
next time we get ready to do this, I'm on point. Hang on,
Okay.
I'm gonna put some links in here for people.
Okay.
All right, so there's a couple people, and then we'll start it.
Okay. Yeah, I was running around trying to find my reading glasses. Because I refuse to do bifocals. I'm like that's the last thing I'm trying to do. So, my bifocals are just keep both pair of me.
That's funny.
So,
All right, cool. So yeah, we can we can get started
all
even
right.
if we don't get everybody in this one. We're still gonna it'll still be posted so people can see it later, and then we'll get it up on the site um, by Monday.
Oh,
So
oh,
anyway, so
yeah.
yeah, so welcome to our live, which will actually be a regular podcast. This is going to go to Black Love Today, and you'll be able to find it on a regular basis at blacklove.today and blacklovetoday.com. This broadcast is actually called For Sisters Only, which will be led by Miss Denise Young, but actually will be produced by me. So after a couple of weeks, I'll kind of be in the background, just moving things around and making sure that things work for her. So Denise Young is from Chicago. She's my Chicago home girl. She's based in the DMV now. She's a writer. She just added radio host to her many hats, but more importantly, she's a mom. And she's a black woman who has a really good and strong perspective of the things that we're dealing with today as far as black men and women and the whole gender war. And if you don't understand that it's a gender war, then there's a whole lot that you probably don't understand about America and what and what black
Mm-hmm.
people are
Yeah.
going through.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so tonight, one of the things that we're going to deal with that I hope people are ready for is the political discussion that people have been trying to have around Roe v. Wade, uh, around politics in general. Uh, but again, back to the gender war between black men and women. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Denise, and then I'll step in when you need
Okay.
to.
All right. Well, first of all, brother Daryl, thank you for all of your energy and vision and compassion for what we as Black people are going through, particularly and specifically related to this gender war. Um, we have been in a war, a race war, for quite some time, actually since the beginning. But I think that our ability to survive our various struggles has been largely because we turn to each other. And we are no longer doing that.
Yeah,
And we cannot wage a war against each other and expect to be able to fight a war against white supremacy. It just won't happen. And so we have to be very serious about understanding this gender war and how we are turning away from each other. And I think specifically, and I love my sisters, I do, but we got to be real about the role that we play in this. So today's topic is entitled, You Can't Love or Be Loved by Thine Enemy. And what that means is that if we as Black women continue to paint Black men as the enemy, the very same men that we claim to want to be wives to, the very men that we claim we want to father our children, um, the very men that we raise up from boys and put out into the world, we have to do better. We have to understand um, the various repercussions of signing wholesale this idea of the Black man as this boogeyman, and we have to understand that how and why that even exists.
yeah,
So, um, so when you think about it's so insidious. First of all, like everywhere you turn, there's a message that Black men ain't shit. Like everywhere you turn, and our media and our academic institutions have been largely responsible for this message. And when we talk about our academic institutions, we are really talking about our Black female scholars
yeah,
and their research that has no empirical data, that is based on white researchers. And I had the pleasure and the honor of interviewing Dr. Tommy J. Curry. Um, and for those of you who are not familiar with his work, get familiar with his work because the brother is serious. He has vision. He is on a mission to really hold all of us accountable, but specifically our our institutions, our academic institutions, for their maligning of historical maligning of Black men and characterizing them as violent, as inherently and pathologically violent. So he has a wonderful book entitled The Man Not, Race, Class, Genre, and the Dilemmas of Black Manhood. And essentially, what he talks about, again, is this idea of how Black men came to represent violence and sexual deviation and sexual violence and pedophilia and all of these things. And it really was for the purposes of being able to mask or justify the violence of both white men and white women. And somehow um, in academia, we as Black women continue to perpetuate those stories using our own experiences and then applying them, with this broad stroke where Black women's struggle and oppression has allowed us to become stronger and to become wiser and to be, fortified with this mission of carrying our collective. And then somehow conversely, it made Black men these inherent deviants. And so we these messages just keep playing over and over and over and over again. So, as a Black woman who loves Black men, I grew up with Black men. I've birthed and raised Black men with Black men. And so i'm
Yes.
just i'm just kind of confused how we have been so um misled to, like I said, just co-sign this without even questioning it. And when you look at again, who's been responsible for these kinds of conversations, it's been our media. Um, one of the most recent, I'm gonna take a deep breath on this one because I'm gonna try not to cuss.
If you need
But
to, it's emotional. Let it
but
out, sister.
one of the most recent pieces was written by a sister by the name of Jamila Lemieux. And if you're a Chicagoan, you may have heard of her. Relatively young sister, not as old as us. I think we probably have about 10 or 15 years on her, something like that. But anyway, she gets to write for Vanity Fair, and the article was entitled something like Dave Chappelle and the Big Ass Lie, etc., etc. And essentially, what she maintains in the article is that Black men really are not as oppressed as they like to claim they are. And if you know the big ass lie, like what that refers to, it's a term that was coined by Hitler, and which
Mhm.
he used to suggest that Jews were in fact lying about the Holocaust and their experience under that genocide. So not only is she suggesting that Black men are being dishonest or I don't know, making up shit about their situation, although they would know best. But there's also to invoke that term also makes a comparison of Black men to Hitler,
Yes.
which, like, where they do that at? Like, what other women on the planet are doing those kinds of things? And so we have to, as sisters, I mean, again, I started out by saying I love sisters. I am a sister. I am born of a Black woman. I've been raised, I know Black women inside out. I mean, um they have been in my corner, but we have to hold each other accountable, and we're not doing that, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
And right, you and who are you? How do you expect Black men to love us the way that we need? I didn't say the way that we want. I said the way that we need to be loved.
Yes.
If all we do is point the finger at them and say, you ain't shit. If we continue to look at them like they are not redeemable, like Black men are useless, as if they are disposable, like at some point, logic, if nothing else, logic has to kick in.
Yes.
And um and I don't see it kicking in. But I also believe that not only do Black women have to excuse me, really sit and think about what we are doing, what we're listening to, who we are aligning ourselves with. Those of us who have a clear understanding of this, we need to be saying it from the rooftops, like, hey, y'all need to stop this shit.
Yeah.
Stop it. we
Yeah.
we are dying. These white people are not playing. They're not playing games. You
Well,
know,
you and I talked about this earlier, Denise, and I think that one of the biggest messages we can deliver to Black women is for Black women to focus on Black people, because
absolutely.
all of our relationships with other communities, with the LGBT, LMNOP, with
Hmm.
feminism, with illegal immigrants, with Stop Asian Hate, with Black, Brown, all of these relationships are fueled or initiated by Black women. And because
Hmm. Yes.
if we shut those relationships down and have Black women focus on their relationship with Black men and with other Black women, then we'll see our community start to prosper, or at the very least, cease the faltering. Because we'll get back
Yes.
to it.
Right. So, absolutely, we have to stop focusing on those relationships. And you're absolutely right that those relationships are fueled by Black women. Um, but I think, in addition to really focusing on, though, stop focusing on those relationships so that we can look internally
Yes.
at each other. We gotta be real about why we were fueling those relationships in the first place.
Can we talk about that?
Can we talk about that? You know, Black women have had this role associated with us of being the savior. I'm using air quotes for people that can't see me. The savior of the Black community, and that's a hell of a title to
Yeah,
hold.
that's big.
And I'm not going to come out and say that we aren't the savior of the Black community. What I'm going to say is, if we are given a report card on that, are we going to pass? And I don't think,
No,
sisters,
no.
I don't I don't think we will. And that's not about talking about our failures as much as it forces us to look at ourselves, look at our actions, look at those things within context, and and say, yeah, we messed up. We made some wrong turns, because brothers are forgiving. Black folks are forgiving.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so it, I mean, I don't want to go down that road about how forgiving Black folks are, because then I get mad.
Right.
Then I get
Right.
mad.
Yeah.
But we are forgiving, and it's okay to be able to say, "Damn, we got that. We got that wrong. We probably should have just stuck it out." I know we was worried about babies, our babies needing to eat and everything, and brothers were struggling with jobs and stuff, but that whole government thing,
Well,
yeah,
not just the government thing,
yeah,
the relationships, the
relationship,
people.
like we sack, yeah, and so it's okay to say, I'm sorry, we messed up.
Or
But
can we get a my bad?
yeah,
Not even I'm sorry,
can we get in my bad?
my bad.
We
Yeah,
were scared. We didn't know. Them white women was yelling in our ears.
right.
Like they were talking about, hey, you can, you'll get a promotion, like, and I was thinking, hey, I get promoted. Maybe somehow this will help. I could like come up
Yeah,
with something.
yeah.
But instead, what we are doing is buckling in. And I keep saying this. I've said this to you, brother, that I feel like unless we have an immediate intervention, Black women are going to ride this thing until the wheels fall off, the undercarriage rots and rusts, and then we are going to be propelling ourselves forward by grabbing the cement with our toes. Like
Like the
I think,
Flintstones.
like the Flintstones. It's
Yeah.
like it's getting that bad. And like I said, this woman, Jamila Lemieux, she's the newest of this crop of Black women who are being given. Do you know how difficult it would be as a Black woman just to decide you want to write for Vanity Fair, one of the whitest Mac
Yeah, yeah.
one of the whitest, if not the whitest. It is the bastion of white
Of
womanhood.
whiteness. Yeah.
And
And,
you
and
get
and
to
for her to
write?
just jump in there. Yeah.
You,
There's a sister in the comments, Denise. At some point
yes.
I'd like for you guys to meet each
Okay.
other, Tiara Jones, because she said,
Okay,
yeah, the
cool,
sister's
sister.
just yeah, she's saying that chick, I'm not even gonna call her a sister, is just stuck on stupid, too much ego. And I want to go back real quick, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm a back up.
Okay.
But I want to go back and just kind of put a pin in that whole forgiveness thing,
Mm-hmm.
because Black women at some point, because you say the wheels are gonna fall off, those wheels are gone,
They're
sister.
gone.
Those wheels are
Okay.
gone, and we're already, there's sparks coming from the
Mm-hmm.
metal on the
Mm-hmm.
on the ground. But
Yeah.
I think if at some point, and so maybe as a Black man, I'll start saying it loudly. If at some point sisters want to say, let's stop this, and then turn to brothers and go, whoo, not even I'm sorry, just my bad. I think because we are so forgiving, and because even with all the Tiara says, hello, sister Denise.
What's up,
Yeah,
sister? What's up,
y'all,
queen?
yeah, y'all are two beautiful Black women. I just want to kind of magnify that. But I think if what Black women are going to discover when we can get to that point is how many Black men still love Black women. Let's stop
Ooh.
playing the game. I'm gonna say it again. Black
Yes.
women are going to discover at some point, if they can make a correction, how many Black men still love Black women. Because
Yes.
for as much as we've been through, and I've been through a lot, in not just in relationships, but some of my uh I want to say familial
Mm-hmm.
relation. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just I have an
Yeah.
ex sister, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a former sister, and we can get to that in another broadcast. But I think right here and right now, I want to make sure that we say, Black women, y'all can come on back. We'll take you back. Got to come correct, but we'll
Yeah.
take you back.
And I so appreciate you saying that, because I think the evidence of your statement is the fact that despite all the rumors, all the misconceptions, all of the propaganda, the majority of Black men are married to Black women.
94%.
And it's like,
Yeah,
this whole thing about, they just want white women. No,
it's
that's
never
that's
been
that's
true.
that's never been true.
Yeah,
And so we have to start looking at data. we have to start embracing the facts, not what we heard, not what we had heard, right? We have
What,
to,
what we have
we,
heard.
what we had heard, we have to start embracing, we have to start embracing facts. We have to start listening to brothers.
What?
We,
Say that again. You did that too quick.
I
You did
said
that
it too
too quick.
quick.
Stretch it out a little bit. Say it
Stretch it out.
again. Say it
We
again.
have to start listening to our brothers.
Yeah.
And this notion that we can hush them up, or we can, dismiss them. And we see these kinds of behaviors, and we do it so routinely with, economics and politics. I mean, I need to start citing, Simone Sanders, when she jumped out there with that funky tweet when Luke Campbell decided to, as he should have,
As he had a right to do.
as he had a right to, wrote a commentary about, at that time Kamala was running. I'm sorry, let me be a little bit more politically correct. Vice President Kamala Harris
Camel toe.
At that time was she was a presidential candidate, or excuse me, running for presidency.
Yeah.
And and so he was saying, I don't really think she's as viable a candidate as everyone thinks. And we probably, this is her record, and we probably should examine this a little bit closely.
And so he was right. He was right.
He was
her
right.
campaign stalled out.
He was right. But for our listeners, our participants, let me, throw up a fist for y'all. I'm in case you didn't see or didn't hear the exact tweet, I'm gonna give it to you, because I tweeted that sister back and basically told her she had lost her goddamn mind. But she tweeted, Uncle Luke is no political mastermind or strategist. She couldn't stop there. She goes on to say, why do Black men keep popping up like y'all some fucking Jack in the Boxes and shit?
Right.
Why do Black men keep popping up with their unsolicited opinions about Kamala Harris? So the last time I checked, Black men in this country are citizens.
That's
Black
right.
men in this country have the right to vote and are expected to vote. But yet a Black woman tells them on a national platform, we need you to shut up.
Right.
That's what she was saying, that you don't matter. Nobody asked you. Go to the other room. Like that's worse than being designated to the children's table,
Yes.
So
yeah.
And so these kinds of things we see way they're out of pocket. They're divisive.
They're out of line. Let me do a couple of things, just acknowledging some people. I know my brother Preston James is watching. My frat brother Lauren Barron is watching. Sharon Davis, she says, I'm happy to see you talking again, Daryl. Hello, Sister Denise. That's beautiful. We got Dawn Whaley is watching, and my sister Sean Barry. What's up, Sean? We've got a few good people in here who are who are going to help us carry this thing as we start to build with Black Love Today, blacklove.today, blacklovetoday.com. You guys can check it out. We're already loading content and we're building this. This is one of the first of many that Sister Denise is going to do and jump in as far as creating content targeted for Black women to begin to discuss. And then, of course, I'll be backing up more and more as we continue to do this. So go ahead, sister. Yeah, I'll say this and turn it back over to you. That thing with Simone Sanders was really ugly because this musty mouth orangutan basically just disrespected completely black men, so that she was basically saying we don't even want to have a discussion with you. We want to just dismiss you. We want you really to just go away. And that's what a lot of sisters ended up saying to us, and we're listening.
Yeah. And
We're
it's you know, one of the things that strikes me about these conversations that, black women in the media, black women in academics, um, continue to have, that really disparage black men and devalue them, is connected, or are connected to this, what I think is a total misunderstanding of patriarchy. So,
Yes.
again, I've been talking and listening and following Brother Tommy J. Curry, and I asked him a clarifying question. I said, so, we're throwing out all these terms, and patriarchy and masculinity, and toxic masculinity, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, well, brother, can you please, Dr. Brother, can you please, explain this to our audiences? And one of the things that he talked about specifically was patriarchy. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we do not understand, and we have just, again, sort of wholesale taken this definition that white women have handed over to us, and we function within this idea or definition of patriarchy as, okay, all men against all women, and that is not what patriarchy is, right?
No,
So,
no.
I heard it from, again, Dr. Brother Curry, who is over in Scotland, as the founder of the world's only. Let me repeat that for people in the bleachers. The world's only curriculum on Black male studies. First of all, can you imagine being the only person on the
Ooh,
planet?
that is, it's pretty damn powerful.
The only person on the planet to be doing a Black male studies program on a college or university. And I think there's actually a second Black male studies curriculum that is a private institute, and Dr. T. Hassan runs that. But yeah, to be the only person on the planet to be doing something is just, first of all, it tells you how committed he is and
Yes.
his love for Black people. So, like, he's like, we're gonna get this right, and you all are going to see us as Black men who are carrying and have been carrying the burden of white supremacy without a doubt.
Yes.
But again, understanding that patriarchy is not this all men against all women. It is the dominant culture, men, right?
Against everyone else.
Against everyone else, but it, as importantly, using their minions, also known as white women, to aid in the oppression of others. And so when we talk about issues, we've talked about white women, but this ties back to what you were saying, Daryl, earlier, about these relationships that Black women fuel. Well, and I'm not getting ready to, just say, well, all people, because people get nervous when you say that. Even we get nervous when you say that. But I want to be very clear. When we talk about LGBTQIA, that movement, it is racist. It is a white supremacy movement. They don't give a fuck, and I'm sorry I had to go there. They don't give a fuck about Black queer, our Black queer and brothers and sisters. They don't care about them.
Well,
They
well,
don't.
I think, yeah, and I think it's important to say that, because it's important to say, when I did my broadcast the other day talking about independence, and I talked about how we need to leave people alone, other groups, it's important to say that because Black people, so Black women have embraced feminism, which has nothing to do with black women.
Mm-hmm.
It hates you. They hate you.
Mm-hmm.
Black Some black gays are still messing around with the LGBT, and that B doesn't stand for black. And we
At
see that
all.
now with Brittany Griner because they have left her. They're saying nothing.
Haven't said
They
a
don't,
word.
not a peep. We got to learn. And since we're talking about black
Mm-hmm.
women got to learn. Leave everybody else alone. Black men are your natural ally. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what happens, getting to, this understanding of patriarchy, that's exactly what's happening is that all of these relationships that we have, that, as Daryl said, that we are fueling, right? Because we have been waving the banners for even, specifically trans women. And what I find most interesting about that conversation, you can go on any social media thread and find that we have even begun to argue with black men that, oh, well, you're homophobic if you don't want to date a trans woman. Excuse me. So we
Yeah.
are now being able to tell black men, heterosexual black men, what you can and cannot do
Right.
in your sexual life. Like, how do we even think that we have a right to be able to delve into that area, which is it's so personal. um
Empowered by white women.
and exactly. But see, we started that many, we can't be surprised that we are even going that extra step, because we started that decades ago when we started telling brothers, well, if you were a real man, or a real man does this, how do you know what a real man does when you are not a man?
Ain't
you
seen a man, didn't
ain't
have a father, ain't
you
got a
ain't
man.
ain't trying to have a relationship with a man, too busy trying to be the man. And it's, so we got a lot of correcting to do, sisters. And I come tonight, with an open heart, because I love black people. I have a saying: I ain't leaving nobody behind. We get to the promised land, I'm gonna let the elders have a talk with Clarence and Candace, and Jay Z and Oprah and some other folks. I'm gonna let the elders talk with them, right? Because the truth of the matter is that we're all trying to function under this dysfunction, hateful society that spits on black people, right? So I ain't gonna leave nobody behind. But so I say this with an open heart, sisters. I really, really, really want us to understand that we have to do some self correcting. We have to do some self reflection, right? We have to look around, because we're so tied to this, gender issue. Like, I can't imagine how we think that we have so much in common with white women simply because we share body parts. Like, this white woman, right, is the same woman that whose foremothers, right, watched as their forefathers raped our foremothers and
And
our
forefather.
forefathers, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the same woman, and she ain't apologized for that shit. She didn't say, look, I wasn't there. It wasn't my fault, but I understand. The pain, the trauma, the violence. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I see you. That's not what she did. That's not what she's doing. And
yeah.
so even when we think about how we have been invited into these movements, right? As women, we have been invited into her movements, Miss Ann's movements,
Miss
only
Ain't.
as a legal technicality.
Yeah.
You How are you going to, as white women, claim this issue of voting rights and everything else under the guise of gender, and then you exclude black women? That
And then,
legally,
yeah,
right? So
but
that's why you needed us. You didn't give, they didn't, so we have to really look with a very discerning eye. And we're not stupid. Come
right.
on now. We're not
Well,
stupid.
Well, some of our sisters are stupid. I gotta say it. They're stupid because they're following the dog whistle. Whatever white folks are telling them to do, they're gonna rock with it. Look,
Right.
I want to read a couple
Sure.
comments. Sean
Sure.
Berry says,
Absolutely.
she says, even when raising my sons, I stayed in my femininity and placed my son in a village of masculine men. That,
Absolutely.
that's important for
Yes.
us to deal with those kinds of sentiments because so for example, me, I'm raising my son alone, but I bring him around feminine women because he needs to
Yes.
get the balance.
Yes.
Sean Berry, that's really really important. What I wanted to do tonight, I think we're doing it and it's beautiful. What I don't want to do is gloss over so much that we end up missing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to wrap some of this up and do a part two very very
Absolutely.
soon because
Absolutely.
what needs to happen, Denise, is that we need to have a situation where you can actually go razor sharp and razor focused into each of these pieces.
Woo.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So if you want to talk, because otherwise we'll be here until tomorrow
Yes.
morning,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So let's talk and start to create some definition for Black women, for you as a Black woman to speak to Black women and
Mm-hmm.
maybe not even have my face up here, even though
Right.
of course I'll still comment. I ain't shutting up,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I'm listening to all that you're dealing with and what I know you're gonna deal with, and I think it's a whole lot to try to mash into one broadcast. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so if we can kind of do that, kind of get some real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's huge. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's a
absolutely
lot.
huge, and I think it's important, for us to understand just how huge it is, because I think that also hints or clues us to how complex these things are. How, I mentioned it earlier, how insidious it is, but also how diabolical and how strategic it is. And so we can't play games with this. And so when as we're coming to, before Black women and saying, listen, I really really implore you, please do some self-reflection. Please do some self-correction. Please, please rethink, with, a discerning heart, with a discerning mind, what are these advantages that we think we are getting by aligning ourselves with white women?
Yeah,
Why is it that it would even be necessary to align ourselves with white women? Are the problems that we think we have with Black men, or the problems that we describe with Black men, are they problems that we have with Black men because Black men are Black men, or are they problems that we have with Black men because they are men? Like, we have to be able to
yeah,
make that distinction. And
yes,
so these are all the kinds of things that we as Black women have to begin to unravel.
right,
If we And it goes back to, we can't have, two things can exist at the same time.
sure,
But this idea of wanting to love and be loved by Black men, while we are simultaneously telling the world, and that is what we do, there is no exaggeration in that. We tell the world that our men ain't shit, that they are deficient, that they are pathological, that
yeah,
they are innately useless, violent, rapists. Is We continue to perpetuate this stereotype of Black men as the boogeyman. And so we have to ask ourselves, even up against any other woman, even white women, who else does that?
Yeah.
Who
No one.
else does that? There is not
No one.
another woman on the planet that is doing that. And so we have to ask ourselves, why? Why are we okay with doing that? And we have to start looking at other black women who are in these spaces of influence, like the Jamila Lemieux, like the Simone Sanders. I didn't even get to Jamil Hill, who tweeted some crap last, what, year, 2 years ago, about she thinks that all black men want to do is get a bigger piece of patriarchy or some crap like that. And it's like, oh
Like we
yeah,
have a piece at all.
yeah, black men are really winning as we continue to watch them be pumped with 60 goddamn bullets. My son text me that he did not think in his lifetime he would actually be reading, and my son is 32, my oldest son, that he would be reading about another black man who would be murdered and filled with lead, more lead than Amadou Diallo, whose body received at the hands of murderous pigs 41 bullets.
Yeah.
So we got to ask ourselves, like, what we're doing doesn't make any sense. And those women, these black women who are in these positions, who continue to say these things, we got to challenge them. Like I said, it's the Jamil Hill, the Simone Sanders. What's that? Is it Brittany Cooper? Is that her name? If Dathan is on this, he knows her last name. The feminist and
I
sister,
know who
she
you're talking about.
every time, we couldn't talk about George Floyd's death without her saying, well, what about, and she starts naming off of black women who have been murdered by the police. And it's like, nobody forgot
My
about these sisters. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
nobody's forgotten about Breonna Taylor and excuse me, and Sandra Bland. Nobody's forgotten about these women. And so why would you make that an issue?
Well,
Like, this isn't a
because here's the deal. You said it when we talked earlier. It was in the description of the original broadcast. We are at war, right? We are at
Mhm.
war, and when you're at war, these are some of the things, some of the rules of engagement.
Yes.
These are the things that
Right.
happen. So, but here's what I want to do.
Okay.
There are a couple of sisters, and I'm sure you know some too. But there's one sister in particular is involved in Black Love Today. She's a professional psychologist. I've already interviewed her, and I'm preparing her interview to load to Black Love Today.
Okay.
I'd like to do a podcast where the two of you talk about something. I'm going back to the razor sharp
Mhm.
focus, and we
Mhm.
can, promote this over a couple of days, and I'll actually do it right, so we don't have the the mess we
Okay.
had tonight.
Yeah.
But let's start. I think this was a good piece to create a foundation.
Absolutely.
But let's do a show. Her name is Dr. Latasha Russell. Let's do a
Okay.
show with you and she. There are a couple other sisters I know about. I'm already thinking who are going to be pretty powerful, and I know you know some sisters as well. Let's do another one. Give me. Let's go ahead and wrap this
Yeah.
one up, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
let's
Yep.
let's talk and create, like, maybe Sunday. Let's do another one.
Okay.
I'm gonna do one on Sunday, early Sunday. Maybe we can do this Sunday evening. Let's talk about doing one Sunday that
Okay.
will be focused, because this, like I said, was a good foundation. But we'll be, if we deal with
Mhm.
everything, we'll be on here, till the wee hours of the
Right.
morning. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, so let's do this. So everybody who was on here tonight, look for us to do another one on Sunday that will be focused. The next one we do, it'll still be on Facebook, but it'll be Facebook, YouTube, and I'm gonna start pushing the Black Love Today Facebook and Instagram
Mhm.
pages as well. And I'm gonna start, moving those so we can
Yeah.
start to, have more focused discussions that aren't just Facebook in general. So, but this was powerful, Denise. This was powerful, and like I said, I want to do something more focused, because I,
Yeah.
I want, and the sisters who were in the audience tonight. I especially want you and Tiara to connect, because
Yeah.
both of you think, when I talk to either of you about some of these issues, I'm basically hearing an echo: two intelligent, beautiful Black women who still love Black men. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
and there are a lot out there. So let's
There are
not.
a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of us out here, and we can no longer afford to allow the voice of Black womanhood to be this really we I was I had to catch my tongue there.
No, don't do that. Just speak on it,
But
Black woman.
yeah, but no, we can no longer allow the voice of Black womanhood to be this Black feminist. We
Yeah,
cannot. She's dangerous, and it's no less than treason. So
yeah,
we cannot.
absolutely,
We
absolutely.
cannot. And yes,
Yeah.
I was right about her name. Her name is Brittany Cooper. She is
Okay.
also very much so a feminist, and every chance she gets, she devalues Black men. So we have to reclaim the voice of Black womanhood,
Yeah.
and
Well, let's
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 do
let's
it. Yeah,
yeah, let's let there be peace on earth. Let there be this. Let there be
yeah,
that, and let it begin with me. Let it begin
and
with
let
me.
it be absolutely. Let it
We're, so
begin
we're
with us.
so we're gonna do this. So yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up, and then we'll do another one on Sunday. I'll see if Dr. Russell is available.
Absolutely.
But if
Okay.
not,
Wonderful.
we'll do it, and we'll be focused. So we can focus. We can do one on Black women and feminism. That's the dope. That's a dope one right there.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah, but we can do one with her, because as a psychologist, she can kind of put some things together and
yeah.
make them make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got two Black psychologists. One is a Black man, and the other is a Black woman. So
Right.
so I wanna be able to use them
Okay.
in these discussions. All
Cool.
right,
And the gang.
cool and the gang. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, look, Queen, this was beautiful. I
This
appreciate you.
was. I
And
appreciate
yeah,
you.
and I definitely, oh yeah, indeed. And so I definitely want to, like I said, let's talk. When we wrap this up, I'm gonna give you a call, and we can start building on the next one that we'll do on Sunday.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Take
Peace.
care.
Peace and blessings.
All
Stay
right.
Black, y'all. Stay
Stay
Black.
Black. All right. Peace.
Peace.